All the earlier history books referred to the four founders. And I thought it would be curious to find out who contributed the land that became the Monrovia Tract. I knew that Monroe contributed some, and that Spence, Bicknell, and Crank contributed some. So I could take the map of Santa Anita, the Santa Anita Tract from 1883, and I could say, okay, that particular lot was owned by and contributed to. So I could account for everything except this one 30-acre parcel smack dab in the middle of the town of Monrovia. I thought, oh, wait a minute, where did that one come from? So I went to the Hall of Records. I think I did this before I had reference or access to anything else. Anyway, I found out that that particular 30 acres belonged to Jerry Falvey. I thought, who was he? And then I did some more reading and realized that he was the foreman of Lucky Baldwin's Rancho Santa Anita. And I don't know for sure, but I suspect that Baldwin, who's always had a problem with his cash flow, may have offered Falvey that 30-acre parcel in lieu of back wages. That's a supposition on my part. But what makes me think that's possible is that John Isaac Wesley Fisher was also owed back wages. Baldwin offered Fisher land in exchange for back wages, and Fisher declined. Well, the land that Baldwin wanted to give him was the Baldwin Hills. And he said, well, Fisher's comment, among those that were solicited for the Glasscock book, he said, about Baldwin, he said, he would have made me a rich man if I'd let him. So I then identified who Falvey was, and then later on when I started reading the excerpts from the early newspapers, Falvey was mentioned as one of the partners in the Monrovia Land and Water Company. That was really the organization that put created Monrovia. They bought the land individually or in partnership, and then pooled it with others, had the Monrovia Tract surveyed with the town of Monrovia as the town site associated with it, and then put the lots on sale May 17th, 1886. So yes, they're the founders in that they were the principals of the Monrovia Land and Water Company. And yes, Monroe gets credit for the founding of Monrovia, but technically it was the Monrovia Land and Water Company that founded the town.
And do you know where Falvey's land was?
Sure. It was bounded by what's now Foothill Boulevard on the north, Myrtle Avenue on the east, what is now Colorado Boulevard on the south, and what we know as Primrose Avenue on the west. As I say, a major chunk. Not all of it became part of the town itself, but it all became part of the Monrovia Tract. Very little is known about Falvey. He was appointed postmaster at Santa Anita in 1886. I think I found him once living at the Jonathan Club in Los Angeles in 1901. He died shortly thereafter, so there's very little factual information about him. But he is a person who existed in terms of land ownership, being a postmaster, and also contributing or being part of the Monrovia Land and Water Company. So we know he existed.